I want to tell you something that might sound absolutely impossible, but I promise you, it's the most practical truth you'll ever hear. Right now, at this very moment, you are speaking your future into existence. Every single word that leaves your lips is a command to the invisible forces that shape your reality. You are not just talking, my dear friend. You are creating. You are building. You are commanding your tomorrow with the words you choose today. And here's what breaks my heart. Most people are using this magnificent power to create the very things they're desperately trying to escape. They wake up and say, "I'm so broke," and then wonder why money runs from them like water through open fingers. They declare, "I never get what I want," and then feel shocked when life reflects that exact statement back to them like a perfect mirror. Your words are not just sounds that disappear into the air. Oh no, they are living things. They are seeds planted in the invisible soil of consciousness, and whether you understand it or not, they are growing right now. Sprouting roots, preparing to show up as your circumstances, your relationships, your bank account, your health. Everything you see around you was once a word, a thought, a declaration made by you or about you that you accepted as truth. I have watched this principle work for decades, in the most extraordinary and sometimes heartbreaking ways. I've seen wealthy people talk themselves into poverty. I've seen sick people speak themselves into radiant health. I've seen lonely souls command love into their lives with nothing but a change in their language. And I've seen brilliant, deserving people lock themselves in invisible prisons built entirely from their own repeated phrases. So if you're sitting there right now feeling stuck, feeling like the walls are closing in, feeling like wealth and joy and freedom are for other people but not for you, I need you to understand something fundamental. You are not a fairy, victim of your circumstances. You are the author of them. And the moment you understand that your words are the pen with which you write your life, everything changes. Everything. Let me tell you about a woman who came to me years ago. She was brilliant, capable, talented in every way. But she was broke. Completely broke. And every time I saw her, she would say the same thing. "I can never hold on to money. It just slips through my fingers. I'm terrible with money." Over and over, like a prayer to poverty itself. I finally stopped her one day and said, "Do you hear yourself? Do you hear what you're declaring over your life?" She looked confused. "But it's true," she said. "That's just how I am." "No, that's just what you keep saying you are." I had her do something simple. Every single day, multiple times a day, she was to say, "Money comes to me easily and constantly. I am a magnet for prosperity." That's it. Nothing complicated, no elaborate ritual. Just new words, different words. She resisted at first. "It felt fake," she said. "Like lying." But I told her what I'm telling you now. You've been lying all along. You've been speaking lies of limitation over yourself for years and calling it truth. At least now, you're going to lie in a direction that serves you. Within weeks, things began to shift. A forgotten refund check arrived. A friend paid back an old debt. A new opportunity appeared out of nowhere. And then a better job with better pay. Was it magic? No. And yes, here's what really happened. Her words changed her consciousness. Her consciousness changed her vibration. Her vibration changed what she attracted. And what she attracted changed her life. The words came first. You see, most people think they'll change their words when their circumstances change. I'll speak positively when I have something to be positive about. But that's backwards. That's why they stay stuck. Your circumstances are the fruit. Your words are the seed. You cannot harvest apples if you keep planting thorns. Every time you speak lack, you plant lack. Every time you speak fear, you water fear. Every time you declare limitation, you build walls around your own potential. But here's the beautiful part, the part that should make you want to leap out of your chair. You can start over right now, this very moment. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect circumstances. You just need to choose different words. Now, I want you to become aware of something that might shock you at first. Every single conversation you have is a prayer. Every text message you send, every complaint you whisper to yourself in traffic, every caption you write under your photo, every thought you repeat while standing in your kitchen at midnight, staring at your reflection. All of it? It's prayer. And the universe doesn't distinguish between the prayers you say on your knees and the prayers you mutter under your breath. It hears everything with the same divine ears. It responds to everything with the same perfect precision. When you say, "I'm so tired of being broke," the universe hears a prayer request for more experiences of being broke. When you say, "Why does this always happen to me?" the universe hears you asking for more of this to happen. When you tell your friend, "I never meet good people," you've just ordered another shipment of disappointing relationships. I know this sounds harsh. I know you're thinking, "But I'm just venting. I'm just being honest about my feelings." And I understand that. I truly do. But here's what I've learned. The universe doesn't care about your intentions. It doesn't care that you were just venting. It only responds to the frequency of your words, the vibration of your speech. And complaining, no matter how justified it feels, creates more to complain about. This is the part where people get stuck, because we've been taught that it's healthy to express our negative emotions. We've been told that suppressing our feelings is toxic, and that's partially true. But there's a massive difference between acknowledging a feeling and enshrining it in words that loop and repeat and solidify into your reality. You can feel frustrated without declaring, "My life is a disaster." You can feel disappointed without announcing, "Nothing ever works out for me." You can feel tired without proclaiming, "I'm always exhausted." See the difference? One is a temporary emotional weather pattern. The other is a declaration of permanent identity. And your words? They're always choosing, they're always declaring, they're always building. So here's what I want you to do right now, today, this very moment. I want you to catch yourself. Not to punish yourself. Not to feel guilty, but simply to notice. Notice how often you speak lack when you desire abundance. Notice how often you describe limitation when you crave expansion. Notice how often you declare yourself tired when what you truly seek is vitality. This observation alone, without judgment, without shame, begins the transformation. I've watched this pattern in my own life countless times. I would catch myself saying, "I can't afford that," when what I really meant was, "I choose to allocate my resources differently." Do you see the difference? One statement chains you to poverty consciousness. The other acknowledges your power, your choice, your dominion over your circumstances. The universe doesn't hear your intentions. It doesn't read your heart's secret wishes. It hears your words. It responds to the vibration you send out through your speech. When you say, "I'm so broke," the universe says, "Your wish is my command," and delivers more experiences of being broke. This isn't punishment. This isn't some cosmic joke at your expense. It's law. Impersonal, exact, and utterly reliable like gravity. Jump off a building, and gravity doesn't ask if you're a good person. It simply responds to the action. Speak lack, and the law of manifestation doesn't inquire about your true desires. It simply reflects back what you've declared. Now, I can already hear some of you thinking, "But Florence, I'm just being honest. I'm just describing my current reality. Shouldn't I be truthful?" And here's where we must make a crucial distinction, the difference between denying your reality and declining to perpetuate it. You don't have to lie about your circumstances, but you also don't have to give them power through constant repetition and emotional investment. There's a middle path. Instead of saying, "I'm so poor," you might say, "I'm in the process of building wealth." Instead of, "I'm always sick," try, "I'm learning to support my body's natural healing." Do you feel the shift? You're not denying what is. You're simply refusing to make it permanent with your words. Your words are either building the future you desire or reinforcing the past you wish to escape. There is no neutral. Every word is a talajo. Brick either building your prison or constructing your palace. And here's what most people don't realize: they're speaking against themselves all day long. They're laying brick after brick of limitation and calling it honesty. "I'm just being realistic," they say, as they describe everything they don't want. "I'm bad with money. I never get the good opportunities. Things like this always happen to me." And then they wonder why their life looks exactly like their language. Let me be absolutely clear. You cannot speak poverty and live abundance. You cannot speak sickness and walk in health. You cannot declare limitation and experience freedom. Your word is law in your world, and the universe doesn't debate with you. It simply says yes to whatever you're claiming. I've seen people transform their entire existence by doing one thing, changing what comes out of their mouth. A woman came to me, drowning in debt, speaking constantly about how broke she was, how she could never get. I told her, "Stop claiming poverty as your identity." She resisted at first. But it's true, she said. I have $12 in my account. Then speak to what you're calling forth, not what you see, I instructed her. She began to declare, I am prosperous. Money flows to me easily. I am a magnet for abundance. She felt ridiculous at first. The words seemed to mock her reality. Within 3 weeks, she received an unexpected check from an old insurance policy she'd forgotten about. A month later, a promotion she hadn't even applied for. 6 months later, completely debt-free. Magic? No. Law. Spiritual law operating with the precision of mathematics. Your spoken word is the most powerful tool you have. More powerful than your education, your connections, your circumstances. Because your word rearranges energy itself, it commands the invisible forces that shape what becomes visible. This is why the ancient texts are filled with warnings about the tongue. It's not morality, it's mechanics. You are literally creating with your mouth every single day. When you say, I never have enough money, you are instructing your subconscious mind to reject abundance. When you say, I'm always tired, you are programming your body to match that frequency. When you say, nothing ever works out for me, you are blocking every good thing trying to reach you. And here's what most people miss. The universe doesn't hear sarcasm. It doesn't understand jokes. When you say, oh great, just my luck, even in jest, you're placing an order. When you complain about your circumstances to a friend, thinking you're just venting, you're actually reinforcing the very pattern you want to escape. I learned this the hard way. I used to speak carelessly about my finances, my relationships, my health. I thought I was being realistic. But realism, when spoken from lack, becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The moment I began to discipline my speech to refuse to speak the problem and only speak the solution, everything shifted. Now, you might be thinking, but I can't just lie about my reality. If I'm broke, I'm broke. And you're right, we're not talking about denial. We're talking about redirection. Instead of saying, I'm so broke, you say, money flows to me easily and constantly. Instead of saying, I'm sick, you say, every cell in my body is restored to perfect health. Does this feel strange at first? Absolutely. Will people think you're crazy? Probably. But here's what I know for certain. 6 months of disciplined speech will transform your life more than 6 years of wishful thinking. Because your word is a decree, it carries weight in the invisible realm. Every time you speak, you are either building your dream or dismantling it. There is no neutral ground. You are either calling things into existence or calling them away. And this is where affirmations become powerful, not as empty repetitions, but as conscious declarations of truth. You're not trying to convince yourself of something false. You're aligning your speech with the reality you intend to create. You're speaking it into being before it manifests in the physical. This is the forgotten art. This is the ancient practice that prophets and mystics understood. They knew their voice was a creative force. They knew their words could heal, could bless, could transform. So I ask you, what have you been speaking over your life? Have you been saying, I never have enough? Or have you dared to declare, every day, in every way, my supply increases? You see, the universe doesn't argue with you. It simply says, your word is law. So, if you keep insisting you're unlucky, you'll find evidence everywhere to support that claim. If you keep declaring you're always late, you'll hit every red light. If you say, I just know something bad will happen, well, darling, you've just placed your order with the invisible. But here's where it gets exciting. To understand this law, you can change everything in an instant. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. I knew a woman who'd been saying for years, my back always goes out in winter. And sure enough, every December, there she'd be, flat in bed, miserable. One day I said to her, stop giving that testimony. Your words are making your body obey. She looked at me like I'd lost my mind. But something must have clicked because she started saying instead, my body is strong and resilient in every season. That winter, not a single episode. Her friends called it a miracle. I called it the law in action. This is what the ancient teachers meant when they said, death and life are in the power of the tongue. They weren't being poetic, they were being literal. Your tongue is a rudder steering your ship. Your words are the blueprint the universe follows to construct your reality. And here's something most people miss entirely. You can't just change your words and keep the same feeling behind. No. Oh no, that won't work at all. You can say, I am prosperous 1,000 times, but if you're feeling poor while you say it, you're sending mixed signals. The universe reads your vibration, not just your vocabulary. The feeling comes first. Find the feeling of already having what you desire. Feel wealthy before the money arrives. Feel loved before the relationship appears. Feel healthy before the symptoms disappear. This isn't positive thinking, it's vibrational alignment. You're not pretending the problem doesn't exist. You're refusing to give it your creative power. I knew a woman who was drowning in debt. Every bill felt like a stone in her pocket. She came to me desperate, asking how to manifest money when she felt so poor. I told her, stop announcing your poverty to the universe with every thought. She began a practice. Each morning, before looking at her bank account, she'd close her eyes and feel gratitude for abundance. Not future abundance, present abundance. The roof over her head, the water from her tap, the shoes on her feet. She'd say, I am surrounded by wealth I haven't yet acknowledged. Within weeks, an old friend called about a job opportunity, then a forgotten insurance refund arrived. Then a side business idea she'd abandoned suddenly made sense. The money didn't fall from the sky, it flowed through open channels. Channels that had been blocked by her consciousness of lack. You see, the universe doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your vibrational frequency. You can affirm abundance all day, but if you're vibrating lack, you'll attract lack. Your feeling is your true request. This is why gratitude is the most powerful manifestation tool. When you're grateful, you can't simultaneously be in lack. Gratitude says, I have received. And the universe, hearing that frequency, says, then you shall continue to receive. Try this. Before you ask for what you want, give thanks for what you have, not as a trade, but as in phases, alignment. Thank you for the perfect health that is my divine birthright. Thank you for the abundance that flows to me now. Thank you for the love that surrounds me. Watch how quickly your world shifts when your vibration shifts. But here's what most people miss. You must also surrender the times how asterisk. The universe has 1,000 ways to deliver your good that you haven't imagined. When you insist it must come through a specific person, job, or opportunity, you block the infinite pathways available to you. I've seen people reject their miracles because they arrived in unexpected packaging. The business partner who seemed wrong but was perfect. The opportunity that looked small but led to everything. The detour that was actually the shortcut. Your job isn't to orchestrate the details. Your job is to hold the vision, feel the feeling, and then get out of the way. Release your grip. Trust the intelligence that creates galaxies to manage the logistics of your life. And here's what's miraculous. The moment you truly release, you stop being a bottleneck to your own blessings. You become a clear channel. The universe doesn't have to work around your doubt, your micromanaging, your death grip on outcomes. It can flow through you freely. I knew a woman who spent months obsessing over a job opportunity. She rehearsed the interview in her mind 1,000 times, crafted the perfect email follow-ups, stalked the company's social media, made backup plans for her backup plans. She was exhausted before she even got the offer. And guess what? She didn't get it. But 2 weeks later, a friend casually mentioned her name to someone at a different company. No application, no interview prep, just a conversation that led to a phone call, that led to an offer that was twice the salary and half the stress. She wasn't even looking anymore. She'd let go. That's how it works when you're not strangling your good. Now, I want to be clear about something, because this is where you get confused. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you become passive or apathetic. You still take inspired action. You still show up. You still do your part. But you do it from a place of peace, not panic. You do it because it feels right, not because you're terrified of what will happen if you don't. There's a massive difference between working toward something and desperately clinging to it. One is faith in motion. The other is fear disguised as productivity. So here's your practice. Every time you catch yourself white-knuckling an outcome, trying to force, control, or manipulate a situation into being, pause. Take a breath. Place your hand on your heart and say, I release this to the divine. I trust the perfect outworking of this situation. And then, let it go like a balloon into the sky. Watch it drift away. Trust that whatever needs to come back to you will, and whatever doesn't, was never truly yours to begin with. This is the final frontier of TTF. Manifestation, the art of spiritual detachment. Not cold indifference, but warm trust. Not giving up, but giving over. When you master this, you'll realize something profound. You were never in control anyway, and that's the most liberating truth you'll ever know.